Hey everyone, happy Valentine's Day. Or at any rate, as I'm recording this, it is the Valentine's Day Eve. Some updates on my life. Me and my beautiful daughter and my beautiful spouse went to Comic-Con, the largest anime, comic, TV, movie convention. It's in Birmingham, Alabama. It's the largest con of its kind in Alabama. We had a blast. We were extremely tired, but we had so much fun. It was really good. I met one of my heroes, Gray Delisle Griffin. If you don't know who that is, she voices Azula on the show Avatar: The Last Airbender. And meeting her was just a dream come true. And I'm sure this woman had been seeing people and signing autographs for 24 hours at least when I met her, and she was just such a gem. She even did the voice of Wonder Woman just for my 7-year-old daughter, and my daughter was very tickled. But what a princess is all I have to say about Gray Delisle. If you ever get a chance to meet her, she's a real gem of a human being. Um, so wholesome, so wholesome. But today, we're going to talk about something that's not very wholesome, and that is Mulder and Scully's extremely toxic relationship. We need to call this review Mulder and Scully's Toxic Relationship Part 2. Mulder and Scully's Toxic Relationship Analysis Part 2. But what we're really talking about is the 1998 X-Files movie Fight the Future Part Dos. Let's get right into it. I got a whole lot to say. This is definitely the most infamous half of the 1998 X-Files movie. This is the part of the movie I would say most people in the fandom and outside of the fandom talk about. So, we'll even if you have a casual knowledge of the X-Files, the you'll probably be familiar with some of the scenes I'm going to talk about. So let's dive right into it. Ominous narrator voice previously on the X-Files. Always wanted to say that. Previously on the X-Files, Mulder and Scully were investigating this bomb in a federal building in Dallas. It turns out it was part of a government cover-up to destroy these bodies that were infected with an alien virus. And when the alien virus infects people, it grows a little baby alien in their tum-tum. And the baby alien hatches out, and if it hasn't killed the person yet, then it will have that person or any person standing nearby as a little happy birthday snack. So everybody wins, right? So, they Mulder and Scully went on one of their batshit crazy road trips to a cornfield in the middle of the high country of North Texas, and they found this cornfield, and over this cornfield were two enormous titties. And I swear to God, at this point in the film, I couldn't pay attention to anything because the 12-year-old in me kept just saying titties, 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 titties. Like, why did they make these structures look so much like boobs? I don't understand. Anyway, when I was 13 and I was watching this movie for the first time, it was hilarious, and it's pretty fucking hilarious now. So, aren't we all 13-year-olds at heart, right? So, Mulder and Scully run through this corn towards the giant white titties. All I can think of is Gillian Anderson's interview during some of the promotional campaign to Fight the Future, and she kept talking about how David was running in front of her and slapping her in the face with corn. So, Gillian Anderson, goddamn, like the things she had to put up with, right? Anyway, so they get to the giant cornfield titties, and they go inside, and they're snooping around, what have you. There's a scene of Mulder and Scully like walking over. It's like this white grid-like structure. It's very 2001: Space Odyssey, but also Tron. Like, it's got those Tron vibes. I really love it. love how this movie just unashamedly pays homage to like other sci-fi and horror films. It's pretty awesome. So they're walking through Cornfield Tron, and they hear this weird rumbling noise. Scully's like, "Is that electricity?" And Mulder puts his ear to the floor, and he says, "Maybe not." And then umbrella meme with the umbrellas chasing the man, and then Mulder says, "Run." So these vents open up in the top of the structure, and all these bees show up. Mulder and Scully, and Mulder in particular, have had some pretty fucking bad experiences with bees. They are on Nicolas Cage type levels of bad experiences with bees. The I almost think that Chris Carter has this latent disdain for insects. We all know Fox Mulder is Chris Carter's like self-insert OC. So like maybe that he was projecting that onto Mulder because Mulder hates insects too. Anyway, they run away from the bees. All I can think about is that scene from Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage where he's like, "No, not the bees." Anyway, they run. They escape. The bees don't sting them when they're swarming, and I can't understand why. But then later on, one stings Scully. I don't understand why they don't just sting them. Because when Mulder like encountered these same like weirdo alien bees in I believe it was Herrenvolk. Yeah, the episode Herrenvolk. Like he had to pour gasoline on himself to ward them off. I mean, they were fucking pissed. So I don't know what the fuck's going on with these bees. Anyway, they're chased by the bees who are bad at their jobs, and they get outside. Jillian's acting, goddamn. I praise it in every review I do, but she's like ruffling her hair, looks just fucking bewildered. Pretty awesome acting from Jillian here. Mulder says, "Are you all right?" And they get the fuck out of Dodge. They run through this cornfield again. These helicopters start chasing them. They get separated. And we get an X-Files trope that we know and love. Mulder just screaming, "Scully!" in some godforsaken wilderness. I'm starting to wonder who started this trope. Was it Mulder and Scully from the X-Files, or was it Cyclops and Jean Grey from the 1992 X-Men the Animated Series? They do the same thing. Like Cyclops will go, "Jane!" and Jean Grey will go, "Scott!" It's like, and when they're separated from one another, it's like it's very romantic Marco Polo, I think is what we would call it. So anyway, Mulder screams, "Scully!" And I'm like, maybe she's trying to hide her position, bro. Like, maybe you don't need to be calling her name while these helicopters are like hovering overhead. Anyway, he finds Scully, and they get the fuck out of Dodge. So then poor Dana Scully comes right out of a life-threatening situation, hasn't even showered, and she has to go to a goddamn FBI hearing to meet Blythe Danner. Mommy again. Mommy's here. Blythe Danner is so mommy. Blythe Danner. I would love for someone to write a fic where it's the events of Fight the Future, but it's from Blythe Danner's perspective. We'll get to her in a little bit. Every time she encounters Mulder and Scully, she's looking over at Mr. Skinner like, what? And mouthing like, "What the fuck?" And Skinner's like, "Look, lady, I have to deal with these two motherfuckers every goddamn day. All right, I don't know what the fuck to tell you." So, she goes and meets with Blythe Danner. She's like saying like, "I found these fossilized remains in Dallas. If I was Dana Scully at this point, I would just curl up in a ball and cry." But Dana Scully, goddamn, what a fucking trooper. So while Scully is in this hearing and her career, life, and freedom are on the line, Mulder goes off to dig around with his new sugar daddy, Martin fucking Landau. Mulder can't go even a season without getting a new sugar daddy. Mulder fucking loves the sugar daddies. So Kurzweil is definitely one of his weirdest sugar daddies. I'll say that much. So he goes and meets with Kurzweil, who's played by Martin Landau, and Mulder's like, "You're full of shit." And then Martin Landau says, "You've never been closer to the truth." And when an older man, a sketchy old man, tells Mulder that, it gives him a fucking erection. Like, that's all they have to say is like, "You've never been closer." And Mulder's like, "I'm there. I'm with you hook, line, and sinker." So he says, "You never knew my dad." And Martin Landau's like, "Go look at your family photo albums, bro." And that's what Mulder fucking does. Mulder goes to his apartment. He pulls out a family photo album. And he looks at this picture of him and his sister and his mom and dad and what have you. And Kurzweil is just there, like, skanking around in the background. So, one thing I've always, like, thought about, that I am confusion. So, is Mulder, like, doesn't remember people like Smoking Man or Kurzweil who were, like, friends of the family? And it's not like Mulder's dad, like, mentioned them in passing. Like, "Oh, I work with this guy," whatever. They came to family gatherings to the point of being in Mulder family photos. And Mulder just opens this photo album and he's like, "Oh, there's Kurzweil." Okay, so I understand that some people don't have the best memory, even though people, fans, the show keep going on about how just brilliant Mulder's mind is and how he has this amazing memory. Excuse me. This episode is brought to you by H2O and lapis lazuli, apparently. So, I get that. Like, some people don't have the best memory, whatever. But Smoking Man and Kurzweil are pretty fucking memorable characters. Like, I don't have the best memory, but I can remember, like, my best friend's phone number from when I was 12 years old. I can remember her dad's favorite food. And, like, this didn't happen when Mulder was, like, super young, like 3 or 4. Like, he was 12 years old. And so you're telling me you're 12 years old. These guys keep coming around to your house. One of them is a chain smoker, and he's hitting on your mom. The other one is this guy writing end times apocalypse books. And you're telling me that Mulder, when he's an adult, isn't even going to have an inkling of that when he encounters these motherfuckers? Like, wouldn't he just kind of, like, say something like, "Oh, yeah, like, this guy's kind of like that creepy guy who was hitting on my mom," or, like, "This guy's like that, excuse me, this weirdo who was, like, writing these end time books," you know? Like, but he never even, and then when he sees, like, Smoking Man and Kurzweil and makes the connection, they tell him about the connection to his dad, he's like, surprised Pikachu face, you know? So, while Mulder's taking a apparently forgotten trip down memory lane, Scully just walks in his apartment. She doesn't even knock. And I'm like, "Scully, baby, you know this guy's crazy. He almost tried to shoot you in Anasazi when you did that. Please don't do that." So she comes in. She is fucking done. Her shirt's untucked. Her hair's all messed up. She's been crying. Like, you see her makeup running. And, like, she's like, "Hey, I'm done. I've been reassigned to Salt Lake City, and I'm leaving." And I'm like, "Yes, girl, do it. Get the fuck out of there." Like, I'm like, leave his fucking ass. So then Mulder says, "If you quit, they win. You know, I need you to complete this quest." You know, again, he's saying, like, this isn't about you. This is all about me. And I had forgotten, like, I know Mulder says that, like, at the beginning of the movie where Scully's talking about being reassigned. But I didn't realize he did it again. And that's shocking because right after this, he does the speech to her in the hallway of his apartment where he's like, I need you. You kept me honest. You made me a whole person. I really want, my cat is again rubbing her butt in my face because that is her little dominance display, isn't it? Yes, you have to show everyone that I'm your property. I gotcha. If you keep clawing me, you're out. So, I had to get rid of her for a minute. So, like, I want the Bikini Bottom narrator from SpongeBob to, like, come on and say, like, Mulder's like, this isn't about you, Scully. Like, this is all about me. And then say, like, 30 seconds later. And then he's like, I need you. You kept me honest. You made me a whole person. Like, tell me that's not manipulative behavior. Okay, and listen, the hallway scene in Fight the Future is probably one of the most romantic scenes ever put on film. And I'm not going to deny that. It's fucking hot, and it's sexy, and it's romantic, and it's beautiful. But it's that way out of context. When you know, in the context of this movie, and especially the show, Mulder is fucking manipulating Scully. Like, okay, so Scully has self-esteem problems, and this is something I wanted to talk about in the part 1 of Fight the Future, and I didn't get around to it. But I hate to, like, talk about Scully's, quote, daddy issues, because so many people make that out like that's her only fucking character trait. And of course, Mulder has bigger daddy issues than Scully ever did. But, like, I don't want to put all the blame on Scully's dad. Like, Bill Scully Sr. gets a lot of hate. I think a lot of it's unwarranted. Like, I don't think he was a manipulative bastard like Mulder is being right now. Like, but I do believe, and I'll talk more about this when I review Beyond the Sea, which I'm very excited to review. My cats are, like, in the garden shed just causing chaos. Just, they're cats, you know. But one thing, is, like, Scully kept trying to impress and please her father, you know, trying to accomplish all of these things to make him proud, and she never did. And this is what she does with men in her life. And Mulder, in this example, like, but I believe that Mulder knows that. He knows that about Scully's personality, and he's like, like, he understands that about her. Like, he can give her these little crumbs of approval, like, oh, you make me a whole person, you know, and she'll come back to me, which she does. Because Scully has a very bad self-esteem. She doesn't understand, like, I'm beautiful and wonderful without this man's approval. And I can be happy and whole and complete on my own. She feels like she needs a man's approval to feel that way, which is terrible. Like, Mulder and Scully definitely needed to go to therapy and work some things out before they got together and had a relationship. Because without them working through their issues, like, this is Scully's issue, her low self-esteem, they're not going to have a whole and balanced and healthy relationship. It's just not possible. Now, Mulder, on the other hand, I'm not going to say that Mulder's just a terrible and abusive person. I don't think he is. Like, Mulder has his own issues that I think explains a lot of his behavior. He has these attachment and abandonment issues. You know, he makes up these stories, whether they're true or not, like, to make sense of what happened to his sister and his family falling apart. And Scully's a part of that. Like, when in his mind, when he says, I'm proving her wrong, he's giving credence to these stories he's telling, and that gives some stability to his life. Like, what's the joke? Like, men will literally do this instead of go to therapy. Like, that's Fox Mulder. Like, he will literally drag this woman into a quest that ruins her life instead of go to therapy. Like, Mulder and Scully could very much benefit from therapy. Um, but I think the insidious part of Mulder's character, especially in his relationship with Scully, is he understands that part of her where she has this low self-esteem and she's like, I need this person's approval to feel like I am validated. Like, I think if Scully had, like, good self-esteem and she was like, yeah, I can be a good and complete and whole person without this person. I don't need them to feel happiness and joy. And I think Mulder very much recognizes that and taps into that when he says these things to her, especially in the hallway scene. And that's why I see it as the most, I'm just going to say the most manipulative of Mulder's behavior. And there's another bit of manipulative behavior he has at the end of the movie, and we'll get there. Anyway, he leans in to smooch her. And Jillian's fucking acting. I just have to break this down. It's amazing. He leans in to smooch her. She's crying. She's got that single sexy tear, man. Jillian, cry on command, Anderson. He leans in to smooch her, and she panics. She gets this little furrow between her eyes, and then she does this little smile and nod, and she goes, like, you can kiss me. That's okay. It's so fucking cute. Mulder swoops in to get a smooch, and what I want is for some clod to come walking into Mulder's hallway like carrying groceries or some shit, see their weird-ass FBI neighbor making out with his partner, and then just kind of shuffle out of the shot. I'm gonna animate that someday. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make an animatic of that. Anyway, people get pressed that Scully gets stung by a bee and the bee cockblocks Mulder and Scully's fight the future kiss. What they never talk about is how she fucking eats his forehead right before this. She is just mouthing his forehead. She's going like, ah. And I'm like, damn, girlfriend, you thirsty. So anyway, they're just about to lock lips, and the little fucking bee stings her. On my Twitter recap, rewatch thread that I did for this, the second half of Fight the Future, I did a little picture of the bee from Jerry Seinfeld's The Bee Movie, and I said, you little fucker. You little fucker. Anyway, the bee stings Scully. There is a very sweet moment where she gets stung by the bee, and Mulder thinks he's like maybe hurt her or something, and he's like, I'm sorry. He just kind of murmurs it. That's really fucking sexy and sweet. Okay, I'll give you that, Fox Mulder. That's hot. Anyway, she says like this, she sees the bee. She's like, this bee stung me. And I love Dana Catherine Scully. Like, god damn, this woman. Even as she's going into shock over this bee sting, she is talking in her medical doctor voice. She's like, I'm losing motor skills, Mulder. Like, she says, I taste bile in the back of my throat. Like, she just keeps talking in these clinical terms, even as she's passing out. As he's laying her gently on the floor, she's like, yes, I think this is definitely affecting me in this medical way. And I'm like, I definitely think if, Scully went into labor with, Mulder's baby, and Mulder was there, of course he'd be losing his goddamn mind, and Scully would just be very calmly telling him, like, okay, you need to call this person, you need to get me here, you need to do this, okay, you're gonna have to deliver the baby, Mulder, you're gonna have to I'm gonna have to walk you through this, alright? Like, I could definitely see that. Anyway, Scully, like, goddamn, what a trooper. Anyway, she passes out, and yay, Scully's comatose for almost half the movie. Hooray, fuck me. I'll talk about that some too. So Mulder calls the ambulance, and the ambulance drivers are in on this conspiracy, and one of them shoots Mulder in the side of the head. What the fuck? I have to quote the podcast, Fox Mulder is a Maniac. They have this thing where they say, Mulder is the world's luckiest detective. It's very much the writers handing Mulder the answers and the solutions. Anyway, he gets shot in the side of the fucking head and he doesn't die. Okay. Alright. He got extremely lucky there. Or the writers wanted him to live. Whatever you choose to believe. So I guess these people were following Mulder and following Scully. I mean, okay, I'll take that, sure, whatever. They got there awfully fast is what I'm saying. Anyway, would another ambulance that's not dirty reach them or reach out to them? How many dirty ambulance drivers are in Washington D.C. is what I'm asking. But anyway, yeah, I'll accept it, sure. I'll suspend my disbelief there. The ambulance drives off, Mulder crumples to the ground, and the next thing he sees as he comes to is his FBI dad, Walter Skinner, and his 3 weird-ass brothers, the lone gunmen. And I love that. Would you get your butt out of my face? Thank you very much. Anyway, I love that. The first thing he sees as he opens his eyes and regains consciousness are, his 3 weird-ass brothers and his FBI dad. And it's so sweet. He's like, I have to go find Scully. And Skinner's like, you're not getting out of this bed. No. I said, in my review of part 1 of Fight the Future, Walter Skinner's always dad to Mulder and Scully, but something about Fight the Future, Walter Skinner, he is just in dad mode. I love this man. I wish he was in the movie more. They're saying, how are we gonna get Mulder out of the hospital? And then the lone gunmen do a full, the hangover, where they're, trying to get Mulder out of the hospital. They say, we can dress up Byers as Mulder and get him out. And Byers has this look on his face wait, what? We didn't agree to this, what? And I said in my Twitter rewatch thread, I said, Byers is the youngest sibling that gets, the brunt of everyone's pranks and schemes, isn't he? As a youngest child, I will attest to that, okay? I was always getting the short end of my brother's schemes and pranks. So that's what Byers is. Anyway, they dress Byers up as Mulder and, push him on a gurney like the fucking Hangover. And Mulder escapes. A wild Mulder escapes. So, Martin Landau is creeping down an alley, which is his fucking thing, I guess. Every time I see Martin Landau, creeping around an alley in this movie, I think of the meme with the fox, and he's, sticking his head out of a manhole cover, and he's, saying, hey, you kids want to buy some drugs? hey, you kids want to buy some drugs? That's all I see. Anyway, Martin Landau meets Well-Manicured Man, a.k.a. the old wanker. And they face off in this alleyway. And I really want Kurzweil and the Well-Manicured Man to face off in this Street Fighter type game. They also act like they've never met before, which doesn't make sense because Well-Manicured Man was friends with Mulder's dad, so wouldn't he at least be acquainted with Kurzweil? Whatever. So my cat is growling at Thunder, who's our new boy. They're always fighting. I love them so much. So, Well-Manicured Man offs Kurzweil. R.I.P. Martin Landau character. I loved you. You are a sketchy, creepy bastard, and I loved you. So, Mulder is chasing after Kurzweil. He sees Well-Manicured Man, and he's like, where's Kurzweil? Well-Manicured Man doesn't answer. He just says, get in the car. And Mulder's like, la-di-da, okay, guess I will. What evidence? You are not sitting in my lap because all you do is scratch me. What evidence does the show or this movie give us that Mulder should trust the Well-Manicured Man? Just blindly trust him. he doesn't even question it. He's like, I guess I'm getting in with this old wanker. Because I'm going somewhere with this old wanker. He literally just shot Kurzweil. And Mulder's like, okay, guess I can trust him. Like, okay, what if the show had, like, set up the well-manicured man where, like, he throws Mulder and Scully a bone sometimes and he, like, secretly wants to help them? Then it would make sense if he told Mulder, like, come follow me and I'll give you these answers, that Mulder would trust him. But this is stupid and gullible, even by Fox Mulder standards. Like, god damn. Like, there is no reason he should trust him. Anyway, he gets in the limo with Well-Manicured Man, and they have this long, stupid, boring talk. Well-Manicured Man, he calls Mulder's father a good man. And I hate to reference the show Family Guy because it's a trash show, but I just think of Peter Griffin laughing, and he's like, ha ha ha, and then he just gets angry and he goes, oh. Like, that's how I feel when someone calls goddamn Bill Mulder a good man. Like, he's the opposite of a good man. He's a terrible bastard. Well-Manicured Man explains to Mulder that, like, aliens have inhabited the Earth for millions of years, and they have this pathogen, this virus that infects people and grows wickle baby aliens in their tum-tums. And then they hatch out, a la the movie Alien. And he's like, hey, we're trying to develop this vaccine. Oh, maybe it'll work, you know. He gives Mulder the vaccine and some coordinates in Antarctica. Again, Fox Mulder, the world's luckiest detective. He just happens to chase Martin Landau down an alley, find Well-Manicured Man who gives him the cure for Scully. Anyway, Well-Manicured Man shoots his driver, and goddamn, the casual violence in this movie. And it was rated PG-13, wasn't it? It's been a minute since 1998. So, he shoots his limo driver, and then he gets in the car and it explodes. Why? Why does it explode? Was the car rigged? Did Well-Manicured Man... Well-Manicured Man had to know he was gonna die, because he tells Mulder, like, get as far away from here as you can. So I guess he knew, like, hey, the syndicate's gonna kill me, so I guess I'll just go out in a blaze of glory. So, you do you, Well-Manicured Man. Well-Manicured Man, I'm gonna miss you, you old wanker. Like, he was seriously the only member of the syndicate I kind of was interested in. Anyway, there is this funny scene where, well, it's not funny that Well-Manicured Man shoots the driver, but Mulder's like inches away from this man who's been shot in the head, and his blood splatters Mulder's face, and David Duchovny just says, oh. Again, the Patrick Stewart gif of him saying, acting, good night. Goddamn David Duchovny and his brilliant acting. So, Mulder, the next thing you see is he's on this snowplow, and he's in Antarctica, I guess. Fox Mulder, again, going to a godforsaken wilderness with little plan and no supplies. Like, we'll get there, but, like, even if Mulder finds Scully, on the slim chance that he finds and rescues Scully, how the fuck are they gonna get home is what I want to know. How are they gonna survive in this godforsaken wilderness? Are they gonna eat some penguins? Like, are they gonna crash into the plot of Happy Feet? Is this how it's gonna go? So anyway, Mulder just fucks his way into a hole that leads to this underground cavern where Scully is. Again, the world's luckiest detective, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the writers just giving Mulder all the goddamn solutions. He goes into this cave, and this is where I said, it's the Matrix. No, it's the kindergarten from Steven Universe. No, it's, like, I just kept naming off these creepy, gestation places. So, again, there's possibly thousands of bodies in this place of these people who are gestating baby aliens. They've been infected with this alien pathogen. Mulder searches for 2 minutes and finds Scully. So there you go, I guess. Mulder also goes down this ice slide to get there, and that looks fucking fun. Okay, like it reminds me of the little cubs going down the spine of the elephant in The Lion King at the elephant graveyard. Like, I always thought that would make the funnest Disney World ride, was the elephant graveyard. That would be so cool. Anyway, he goes down this ice slide. It looks fun. And he finds Scully. He also finds the caveman from the beginning of the movie who was infected with the alien virus. Which is weird, right? Like, I want an AU where Mulder rescues the caveman along with Scully, and the caveman just runs around modern civilization, like, having hijinks and existential crises. Like, that's what I want. That would be a great fic. So, Mulder finds Scully. So, did this movie just, like, forget about... Chris Carter wrote this movie, by the way. Did he just forget about... like the alien chip in Scully's neck, and her cancer arc, and how the chip like cured her cancer? Like, wouldn't that have any effect on like this alien pathogen? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, wouldn't that kind of cancel it out, is what I'm saying. And again, wouldn't it be cool if like Mulder was the one to get stung by the bee, and he was the one, like, Scully had to go to Antarctica and save him? Like, that'd be fucking rad, and it would make more sense than this. But again, I guess this is 1998, I guess. Like, Mulder, you know, since he's the male protagonist, he has to be the one taking an active role in this movie, and Scully has to be comatose for almost half of it. Fuck me. Anyway, he gets Scully out. He has to pull this umbilical thing out of her throat, and then she, like, pukes up alien sludge on him. And I'll say one thing for David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson: they are the only people on the face of the earth that's gonna make that look hot, okay? Like, the whole time I was like, oh, gross, but like, ooh, they're hot. It was that kind of thing. Again, someone said the X-Files is just two of the sexiest people on the planet doing the unsexiest things, and that's a good description of the X-Files. He gets Scully out. He wraps her up, and there is a very sweet scene where he thinks she's dead, and she whispers in his ear, and she's like, "I had you big time." And that's what she said to him on the roof of the federal building at the beginning of the movie when she pranked him. And that's a nice scene. Like, god damn, like, why couldn't we have this, you know, just these two people, like, having these paranormal adventures and having a good, healthy, non-toxic relationship? Like, it's moments like that I'm like, yes, we could have had that. You know, why did Mulder have to be such a problematic character? And like, why can't I just love these two? You know, why can't they be non-problematic? Like, and of course, they can't, because this is written by Chris Carter. LOL, fuck me. So, he drags Scully, he's dragging her out of the cave. There's these aliens about to celebrate their birthday all around them, and they're about to hatch out. Scully passes out. And I'll say one thing for Fox Mulder. Okay, I don't like him, but he stops to administer CPR to his partner while these aliens are about to fucking disembowel him. And I'll give him that much, okay? Mulder's a little bitch boy, I would say 99% of the time, but that 1% of the time, he's a goddamn trooper, alright? So, it works. Scully's okay, more or less. He pushes her out of the cave. The aliens attack. Yay! We love that, don't we? When Scully is either absent or unconscious when the paranormal shit happens. And then people just drag her for being an unbeliever. Fuck me, okay? So, one alien grabs Mulder's ankles. Scully pulls him up. They get to the surface. This huge spaceship goes over. Mulder's like, Scully, look at this. Scully's barely conscious. She's just had a alien umbilical cord pulled out of her throat. She's like, what? What the fuck? So I'm like, bro, I don't think she's doing too well. And then Mulder, it's kind of funny. He's like, I saved you, Scully. Now I'm going to die a little bit and you save me. So he passes out and Scully has to like lay on top of him and keep him warm. And it's pretty fucking sexy. So, again, how do they get home? I'm thinking about the scene in Finding Nemo where the aquarium fish like they like crawl out in their bags across the street and into the bay, and they're still in their plastic bags, and they're like, what now? I'm like, yeah, how did Mulder and Scully get home? How did they survive here? Again, like, did they kill some of Mumble's relatives from Happy Feet? Like, how did they survive? So, apparently they do get home, because again, we see Blythe Danner having a existential crises talking to Dana Scully. She's like, look, you're telling me these wild stories, sister. I need some proof. Scully pulls the bee out that stung her, and some people drop mics. Dana Scully drops bees right in front of Blythe Danner. She's like, boom, there you go. Again, Blythe Danner looks at Mr. Skinner like, and she's just mouthing like, what the fuck is this? And Skinner's like, I don't know what to tell you, lady. I have to deal with these motherfuckers every goddamn day of my life. So then you see Mulder sitting on a bench, reading a paper, being extremely emo Mulder alert. I'd also like to point out that when David Duchovny attempts to do some hardcore big boy acting, he just ends up sweating a lot, which, make of that what you want. So, then Mulder tells Scully, he's like, you need to get as far away from me as you can. He's like, go, be a doctor while you can. And at this point, this is another thing Mulder does a lot to Scully. He's like, you don't need to be around me. Like, you need to go live your own life. A lot of people point to like, well, this is Scully following him, so it makes the relationship okay. And I'm like, again, like I said this in part 1 of my review of Fight the Future. I almost said Fart the Future. That needs to be the title for this review. Fart the Future. In Fight the Future. A lot of people say, like, because she followed him, like, that makes it okay. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Like, excuse me. Like, just because Scully chose to follow Mulder does not make their relationship healthy. It doesn't. Like, how do those things relate? They don't. Anyway, Mulder tells Scully this, occasionally. Like, he's like, get as far away from me. Like, I can't jeopardize your career. Especially at this point, like, in their relationship. Like, does she have a choice? Like, he's telling her, like, go be a doctor while you can. I'm like, he's just telling her to do that? Like, she can do it? Like, again, like, her life, her health, her reputation is in shambles. And you're telling me, okay, so this woman can just go off and have a new career. Like, she can start over, like, with this reputation following her. Like, he makes it sound like she can just go off and fucking do that, when obviously she can't. Also, she's lost a sister and a child to this quest he's on. And he's like, oh, but he just blithely tells her, like, go off, you know, go away and live your own life. Like, she could. And I consider this, again, like, part of Mulder's manipulative behavior towards Scully. Like, again, like, he'll give her these crumbs of validation and affection, and he knows she'll follow him because she has self-esteem problems. And that's how I interpret it. I said what I said. MSR shippers, come at me. I don't fucking care. That's how I see it. They have a bad relationship. You know what? Fight the Future is a good example of what Western media portrays romance as and what it is in reality. Like, Mulder doing these grand gestures for Scully, making these huge dramatic gestures for her, but he can't appreciate her day to day and work to be considerate of her and make her life better. Like, he keeps taking her for granted on a daily basis. Like again, like bikini bottom narrator voice, you see Mulder in the hallway telling Scully, like, you make me a whole person. And then, what is it, at the beginning of season 6, he tells Scully, like, you're making this personal, Scully. Like, and again, I want the bikini bottom narrator to be there, and he's like, 5 episodes later. like, and that's a great, and it's a lot like how, like the old princess movies would like portray love. Like, the prince comes and gets the princess, and they get married, and they all live happily ever after. And that has impressed people growing up watching these movies, like, this is how romance is supposed to work. When romance is, and relationships are a day-to-day thing, where you're constantly giving and compromising and working and appreciating this person that you're in this relationship with. And Mulder can't do that. He can't give Scully that. Like, he can't not take her for granted on a daily basis when it matters. But he can make these huge dramatic gestures. Like, that's a really good metaphor for it. Another thing I want to point out is Scully wants a life with Mulder. Like, she wants a family and she wants kids. Like, she's alluded to this many times in the show. Mulder wants to have this quest for validation. He wants this chase, and he needs Scully by his side in order to do it, to make meaning of it. I think that's a very good interpretation of this power imbalance between them. Like, Scully wants this happy life with him, and she could care less about finding out about aliens or whatever the hell. Mulder needs her to complete his quest. Like, that's a good way to, like, illustrate their very bad power imbalance. Like, that's how I see it. Again, MSR shippers, come at me. I don't give a fuck. This is how I see it. I am slaughtering some holy cows in this review, okay? That's what I'm doing. So then, you see Smoking Man. He goes to Tunisia where they're erecting more cornfield boobies. And he talks to this old fucker that's in the syndicate. And it's boring and stupid, and I don't care. So then the credits roll, and the Foo Fighters sing. And again, when I heard them singing, I'm like, oh yeah, this is 1998. That's great. And that is Fight the Future. We did it. This is not anywhere near as long as part 1 of the review. Follow me on Twitter. I am at raccoons_dead. Follow me on Instagram. I am at Dead Raccoons Draws It. Follow me on DeviantArt. I am at Dead Raccoons. Follow me on Tumblr. I am at Just Awful X-Men Art. And of course, leave a comment here. Tell me what episode you want me to review next. I'm going to put out a poll on Twitter with some suggestions. We got through it. We got through Fight the Future. Have a great day. Watch out for bees. Watch out for alien baby showers. And I love you. I will see you on the other side. Mwah.